how do we deal with aggression in the playroom? The first thing is we need to normalize that aggression happens. It's a part of the play therapy experience. And if you're a play therapist that's been doing this for really any amount of time, then you've experienced this in some way, shape, or form. And what we also know about aggression when it shows up in the playroom is that it can feel scary to us, the therapist, because we get activated. We feel our own physiology respond when the aggressive play, the aggressive energy, the aggressive stories, dialogue, whatever it is, shows up in the playroom. Now, the first thought may be, okay, so what do I need to do to the child to get the child to stop being aggressive? Well, in synergetic play therapy, we look at this from a different perspective. The question that we would ask is, what do I need to do as the clinician? What do I need to do within myself so that I can stay connected to myself, so that I can hold a large enough space and container for the aggression to be able to integrate within the child? It's a really different question. Now, there are many ways of going about this and many different parts of things that we can do to support aggression integrating, but I want to focus on the importance of setting boundaries, because boundary setting is really important for us as the clinician. But in synergetic play therapy, we go about setting boundaries in a slightly different way. We really look at it from the perspective of the brain. We look at it from the perspective of, again, how can we maintain our own presence and our own connection to be able to have a large enough window of tolerance to support the child in integrating. So what you've actually just heard me say without me saying it is that the majority of the time, the boundary is for us, the clinician, not the child. What this means is that when the intensity starts to build in the playroom, if it builds to the point where we know as the clinician, I can no longer be present. I'm not going to be able to be the external regulator. It's too much in my nervous system. That is precisely the point when it is important for the clinician to set the boundary. Now, I want to give you 2 tips here on how to go about setting the boundary that help maintain the respect and the relationship with the child, so that the child doesn't inadvertently feel shamed or shut down, and their nervous system is able to continue to process the aggressive energy that they are experiencing inside, which may be a very important part of their trauma integration if that's what they are working on. So the 2 tips are, first step is we acknowledge. So I might say to the child, wow, this is big, or whew, this is intense, or you really want me to know, or you really want me to know what it feels like to feel trapped or to feel scared. So I'm acknowledging because I want to give the child the message that this experience you're having is not a bad experience, that it's normal, it's natural, and I want to acknowledge that deeply so the child doesn't feel shamed by my redirect, which is the second tip. So first tip is we acknowledge. The second tip is we redirect. And 2 of my absolute favorite, let's call them the golden statements of boundary setting and synergetic play therapy, sound like this. The first one says, show me another way. Isn't that beautiful? It's not saying stop. It's not saying what you're doing is wrong. It's not saying we can't do that in here. It is simply saying, show me another way. And the message below that is, because I want to stay connected to you because you're so important to me. So we acknowledge and we redirect. So, wow, this is really big. This is really intense. Show me another way. Now, the second golden statement in boundary setting, because sometimes when the aggression shows up, a child actually physically wants, it seems like they want to hurt you. They don't really want to hurt you. They just have this idea that if you are hurting, then you will have a felt sense of what it feels like to be the child. So if you have a child that becomes aggressive in a more of a physical way, the next statement that you can add in is, I don't need to hurt to understand. Or my body doesn't need to hurt to understand. Show me another way. So let's put this together. Aggression happens, intensity shows up in the playroom. We feel activated as a clinician. If we are able to maintain presence and stay connected to ourselves, cool. If all of a sudden it's like, woo, this is too much, it's time to set a boundary. We pause, we take a deep breath, we acknowledge the child, and then we redirect the child. Now, the only thing that I will add to this is if there genuinely is a safety issue or someone is about to get hurt, you forget everything that I just said in this little tip video and you do whatever it takes to keep yourself safe and to keep the child safe.